checked my wife's WhatsApp and discovered something shocking. In a suburban neighborhood, an otherwise harmonious family faced a crisis that would shake the very foundations of their long-standing relationship. For nearly 18 years, John and Sarah had built a life together, raising two wonderful children, enjoying their comfortable home, secure jobs, and the support of a loving extended family. Their life seemed idyllic, with no major issues to mar their happiness. Little did John know that his world was about to crumble. Discovery Day, D-Day. The fateful day was September 4th when John's suspicions about his wife Sarah's behavior came to a head. A series of behavioral changes had made him increasingly uneasy. Her elevated alcohol consumption, excessive phone use, a newfound gym membership, and a noticeable change in her wardrobe were among the signs that something was amiss. Unable to ignore his instincts any longer, John did what many might consider an invasion of privacy. He checked Sarah's phone. It was a decision he would not regret. What he found was evidence of a 10-month-long WhatsApp chat, cleverly hidden in her archived messages to avoid detection. The messages revealed a passionate affair with a married colleague, AP, who lived nearby. The affair had begun in early March when AP began pursuing Sarah. It appeared that she had been flattered by the attention, which eventually escalated into a full-blown emotional and physical affair. John discovered the intimate details of their secret rendezvous, including video calls, trysts in office restrooms, covert meetings in meeting rooms, and even a liaison during a business trip at a hotel. The messages were filled with declarations of love, dreams of a life together, and regrets about not finding each other sooner, before they had both settled down and started families of their own. What hurt John the most was that Sarah had discussed their family activities and their children with AP, sharing the most intimate details of their lives. The level of detail in the messages left John emotionally devastated. The confrontation. Armed with the evidence, John couldn't hold back his pain any longer. The next day, he confronted Sarah. He began by asking her if there was anything she wanted to tell him. Sarah was aware that John had seen a message on her phone, but was unaware of the extent of his knowledge. She looked him in the eye and lied, claiming that she had grown close to someone at work, but that nothing had happened between them. John pressed her for the truth for nearly half an hour until he finally produced the evidence and quoted the damning messages. It was then that the gravity of the situation hit Sarah. John knew everything. Sarah was devastated, expressing her deep remorse for her actions. She didn't want to hurt John and was terrified of losing her career, as well as the financial impact on their children. She worried about what her friends and family would think and feared that John would inform AP's wife. John's initial demand was for Sarah to immediately cease all contact with AP and for him to resign from his job the very next day without notice. He felt that this was the only way to salvage their family. However, Sarah pleaded that this was not possible. She argued that such sudden actions would raise suspicions and questions at work. She claimed she needed handover notes from AP, as he was the only one who knew how to use a critical work system. John, against his better judgment, conceded to these points, extending the agony for nearly 3 weeks. During this time, John allowed AP to find another job, all while struggling with the emotional turmoil. The aftermath. The affair between Sarah and AP officially ended, with personal messages and calls ceasing. They took measures to limit their time together in the office, and AP eventually decided to leave his job. Sarah expressed her desire to work through the ordeal with John, knowing that she had little choice but to comply. John had not yet consulted a divorce lawyer, but realized the complexity of their situation required professional guidance. He believed their relationship had been strong before the affair, with laughter, minimal arguments, and typical communication issues. However, the revelations had left him questioning their entire history. For years, John had dealt with a difference in sexual desire between him and Sarah. Although it had caused occasional disagreements due to his frustration with the one-sided pursuit, it hadn't been a deal-breaker for him. He loved her deeply and cherished her as his wife and the mother of their children. Yet the affair had exposed a side of Sarah he had never seen before. John grappled with feelings of insecurity and betrayal. He had devoted himself to their family, but the affair made him question everything. It was as if their entire history had been rewritten overnight. He now saw narcissistic traits in Sarah that he had previously overlooked. Seeking help, John had bottled up his emotions for 3 weeks, only sharing his pain with a close friend and a therapist. Sarah claimed that she had awakened from a dream or fantasy, expressing deep regret for her actions. However, John struggled to trust her words. He believed that rebuilding their relationship would require a list of rules and conditions. He insisted that Sarah reveal the truth to their families as a sign of her commitment to healing their relationship. He needed a broader support network to cope with the crisis. For the first time, Sarah's image would be tarnished in the eyes of those who held her in high regard. John knew that he had to balance his love and anger for Sarah. The discovery had shattered his trust, and he oscillated between loving her and hating her. The affair had taught him that anyone could be unfaithful under the right circumstances. He wanted others to learn from his painful experience and emphasized the importance of open communication in relationships. Moving forward, despite the immense challenges they faced, John and Sarah remained committed to exploring their options. Sarah had shown remorse, but John needed to see her actions match her words. He was keeping all options open, reconciliation or divorce, and was determined to dictate the narrative moving forward. John's self-esteem had suffered during the ordeal, but he was working on self-improvement. He had embarked on a journey to improve his physical and mental well-being for himself and his children. Although trust had been shattered, he was open to therapy, both individually and as a couple, to understand the deeper reasons behind the affair, regardless of the ultimate outcome. Their story was far from over, but the couple remained on a path of healing and self-discovery, determined to find a way forward, whatever that path might be.